for the Scotties as well, so that everyone can put their collective minds together and come up with creative ideas how you can help raise awareness of Scotties. And then we'll have that wrap up in a Q&A session. So we are Scottie crazy. And in fact, for those of you that still have the cameras on us, I know you're seeing the slides, but we wanted to introduce you to a little guy here. In fact, I think I saw Juliana pop up.
Is that my little guy?
That's your little guy.
Oh my God, he is darling. Oh, thank you for this.
You are so welcome. Of course, you know, we are Scottie crazy, and we'll talk about Sealys here in a little bit. So Lisa, when did you get into Scotties?
You know, my ex-husband, actually, his parents had a Scottie, and that's how I first met my first Scottie, and that was, probably about 28 years ago. And he was just a kick. He wanted to be right with me when I would go over there, and usually he didn't like newcomers. So it made me feel good. And then he passed away at 18, which is unheard of now. And after that, I always liked the Scotties. I had little magnets as you know, a young person I had found at an antique store years ago. And then when my kids, my youngest, we only had 2 at the time, was 5, I kept pressuring my husband, could we get a dog now? You know, they're older. And he said, well, only a Scottie. And I said, well, I'm fine with that. Let's get a Scottie. And that's how it all started. So I got a companion puppy, and he gave me a run for my money too. I had to hire a trainer to help me because I had never owned a dog. And it was lots of fun, lots of learning. And I still use those lessons that I learned from the trainer all those years ago, training my dogs now, because it works, you know. So anyway, that's how I got into it.
Yeah, so I don't have the same story, but my first girlfriend in 2nd grade, her name was Lisa. She lived down the street, and she had a Scottie with a bad attitude. The dog had the attitude, not the girlfriend. And so Lisa's kids, those are Lisa's kids you see in the photo.
That we went to the Great Western Terrier specialty, and the owner of the sire of some of my youngsters, we talked her into entering her boy. So that's Champion Morgan's Midas Touch, and he was quite the dog. And he sired some very nice youngsters, very nice puppies. And one of them went to Japan, Andor, and we had so much fun doing that. So if you don't know about this, it's the sire and his get is the class. And the judge was from England. And she was so nice and friendly with the kids, and they really enjoyed it. But we took in 9 kids from our area, and we had 4 of our own. And so we wanted to get the kids involved in something constructive. And so showing the Scotties was something we started doing with the children. They were in junior showmanship, and then when they got confident, they were in the regular classes showing our dogs and finishing their championships. So we had lots of fun for quite a few years doing that.
And you actually kind of started your ambassador work then with the tents that you set up.
Yeah, we would set up a tent at the dog show, and we would make it pleasant, and we would invite people when they were walking by our tent to come and see the dogs. And if I had puppies at the time that were old enough, I would bring a few and have an X pen so they could get in there and sit down and actually enjoy the dogs. And that's how it all started.
So Lisa got into breeding. We got married 6 years ago, but Lisa's been breeding Scotties and Sealyhams for some time. In fact, she's got Afterglow families spread all around the U.S. and the world. You'll see a map there showing some of that. And Lisa loves taking photos of her dogs. I like to say that she's a photographer that just happens to raise dogs.
I have so much fun doing the photography. It's so fun to take pictures of beautiful dogs. And so I have fun. I think weeks ahead of time, what photo shoot will I be doing next? And have fun with it.
We went to the Dayton Scottie Club picnic 2 or 3 years ago, and took Goody and Jenny along with us. And Lisa took this photo of them on a tree stump, and we submitted it and was able to get it on last summer's Bagpipers. For those of you that are members of the Scottie Club of America, you receive that magazine. And so that was pretty exciting for us. But Lisa got to fulfill a lifelong bucket list item when she was able to go to Westminster in New York City to see our Scottie Nash compete. And there's a picture of him there. So let's talk about the Sealyham. They're from Wales, not from Scotland. And this is an example of our Sealyham that we bred, Afterglow Sir Bedivere. He goes by the call name Bogart, and he's owned by Pam Page in New York. He's a Grand Champion Bronze. Pam also had him complete the Canine Good Citizen program and also the Trick Dog Novice program. And she's going to be doing several other things with him too. I think she even said agility or something she's going to be.
Yeah, she already has him entered in training classes along with his little Scottie buddy. So they just started the classes and they're both excelling and doing really well. So we're excited.
Yeah, Juliana, by the way, I know you can't smell it, but there's puppy breath all over my face right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm very jealous. He is darling.
We want to talk about, the Scotties, but also the Sealyhams. So Lisa, you want to raise what you have there?
So we brought a little baby for everybody to see. This one has markings on his eyes. A Sealyham is predominantly white, and then they can have color on their head and ears. Once in a while, we get a spot on the body. They call it a body mark. It's just a bonus. It's not preferred, but it's cute.
So a little bit more about Bogart. So we talked about how Lisa took Nash to Westminster last year. Well, Bogart also competed in the Sealyhams at Westminster last year. And you'll see Lisa in the upper left corner there holding up the Award of Merit ribbon that he got. And the lady at the lower right is actually Pam Page. That's Bogart's owner. And that picture was taken on the day that he was picked up at our home here in Granville, Ohio. And interesting how Pam's wearing Westminster purple. It's almost like it was a sign that great things were to come. So let's do a quick comparison between the Scotties and the Sealys. Let's talk about their similarities. Lisa?
They're both low to the ground, have lots of bone and substance. They are both hunters. They love to dig. They love to help you garden. And they are all around pretty similar, but they do have a few differences. And the differences are the ears you see are down on a Sealy and up on a Scottie. The Scottie has 2 eyebrows instead of just a full fall. And the Sealyhams, we do dock the tails in the United States. It gives a more balanced dog
Appearance, yeah.
and appearance. And the Sealys, Geiger is so funny when he explains or describes the dogs. He'll say the Scotties have a mission. They have a plan.
Before you let them out the door, they know what they're going to do, right? Don't your Scotties, they have a plan of where they're going?
And the Sealys, the Scotties are marching around the perimeter, making sure all is good and there's no interlopers in our yard. And the Sealyhams are in the center of the yard having a party. So they're just so cute. And the Sealyhams are clowns. They make you laugh. They're silly and they like to sit in your lap, whereas a Scottie prefers to be at your feet for the most part.
And they're known as the couch potatoes, the Sealyhams are. The couch potatoes of the terrier world. You'll see that's Harry down in the corner there, sitting up on his couch, and we'll hear more about Harry. But a lot of Sealys like to do this Sealy sit, where they sit up. We'll see some photos of that in a little bit. So Sealys were very popular in the 30s and 40s with the Hollywood set. Cary Grant, Gary Cooper, Betty Davis, Richard Burton and Liz Taylor, Princess Margaret. They all owned Sealyhams. If you've ever read the book Higgly Piggly Pop, written by Maurice Sendak, he's the one that wrote Where the Wild Things Are. You read about the adventures of his personal Sealyham, Jenny. But perhaps their most famous celebrity fan was Sir Alfred Hitchcock. And he gave Cary Grant the Sealyham that Cary had. Cary named him Archie, which was actually Cary Grant's birth name. And Hitchcock used his dogs in a cameo in his films. In fact, the 1963 movie The Birds, right at the beginning, he's walking out of the pet store as Tippi Hedren's walking in. That's Stanley and Jeffrey, his two personal Sealyhams. So he's done a lot for awareness of the breed. In fact, people can't remember Sealyham as a name sometimes when we meet them. We say, you know what, just Google Hitchcock's dogs and you'll find them. But the Sealys were very popular, and then things started to slide. In the late 2000s, articles started coming out about how they were facing extinction. And a very incredibly well-written piece in Country Life magazine over in the UK came out with the SOS article, Save Our Sealyhams, with this beautiful Sealy on the cover. It was a story where they interviewed a gentleman by the name of Harry Parsons. He owns about 20 Sealyhams in the UK, and he uses them as working dogs for hunting vermin. You'll see in the lower right-hand corner there a picture from a still from the Sky News magazine, or Sky News news channel, when they did an interview of him. If you want to see any of this stuff, it's on our website. You can watch the video clip there if you want. So Lisa had been in Scotties for years, and after meeting, was it Ben Lowe?
Yeah, I was at a dog show, and there happened to be Sealyhams at the dog show, which is a rare occurrence. And Ben Lowe was being shown or specialed at that time. And I just fell in love with the breed. And I knew about them earlier and had always admired them, but that was the day that really made me want one.
But you had a hard time getting one.
Yeah, I was told that, oh, you won't ever be able to get a Sealyham. It's pretty impossible. So we went to the show in Long Beach. It used to be called the Eukanuba show, and it was a big special show. And Marjorie Good was there, and she was specialing Charmin. And we were showing our Wheaton boy that happened to be in that photo with the kids with all the Wheatons. And so Marjorie Good watched Robert, my son, show James. And so then after, we of course wanted to meet Charmin, and he was at the meet and greet booth at the Eukanuba show. They were having a special meet Charmin day, event. And so we went upstairs and met Charmin, and Robert started talking to Marjorie, and she said and told her how he wanted, how we wanted a Sealyham really bad. And she said, well, anyone that can show and groom a Wheaten Scottie like that should have a Sealyham. And so that's how it all started. And she made it possible for us to get a Charmin daughter. And we were so elated when we were able to get our first Sealyham.
And so Lisa decided that if she were able to start breeding Sealyhams, she was going to help prevent that situation where no one could get a Sealyham. And she was going to breed Sealyhams to make them available to people outside of the show world, to excellent families. Show people could still get them, but it was her passion to save the breed. And once she and I met, it became a passion of mine as well. So the key is, how do you save a breed that's in decline? Well, you've got to breed and you've got to get the word out. People can't even choose a Sealyham if they have never heard of one or met one. So take a look at the dog breeds, the popularity. These are the rankings of the dog breeds. Now, back in 2008, when all of these articles started coming out, Sealyham Terriers were ranked 168th in terms of popularity. That year, 2008, in the US, 40 new puppies were registered that year, just 40. And through the dedicated effort of a small number of breeders and the work of the Sealyham Club raising awareness, they've continued to go up. In fact, in some years, they are the only terrier breed that has gone up in rankings. Scotties pretty much stay the same each year. And we're happy to report that as of last week, it was announced that for 2020, there were 181 new Sealy puppies. That's up from 40 back in 2008. Now, that's not a lot, especially when you compare the fact that there were roughly 40,000 Golden Retriever puppies registered last year. Lisa likes to tell people about why she gets dogs from Europe and from all over, really, as part of her breeding program. And it's not really a gene pool that the Sealyhams have. It's really more of a gene puddle. And so it really takes extra care to make sure that there's diversity within the breed. These things are so rare that there's more pandas, tigers, and lowland gorillas in the world than there are Sealyham Terriers. So they are greatly at risk. So what we're hoping to do today is to share with you some of the things that we have done as ambassadors of the breed to raise awareness and to get people familiar with it. And that's what we're going to be looking at here, with the hopes that each of you will think of creative things that you can do to raise awareness of our beloved Scotties. I'm sure you've all experienced where people don't even know what breed of dog it is anymore. They think it's a Schnauzer or a Black Westie or something like that. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So the goals of our ambassador work, well, we realized we had to seek out people. We had to focus on educating them. We wanted to do meet and greets where people could meet the dogs. We wanted to think of what we could do to make use of the media to have a broader audience. It was really important to us that we promoted the breed and not us. But we also had to be careful that we didn't overexpose this, because we didn't want to have happen to the Sealyhams what happened to Frenchies and Chihuahuas. And you remember when Caesar dog food came out, and with the Westie, the Westies really increased in popularity, because if we overexpose them and the demand goes too high, but the number of breeders doesn't increase along with it, you have a gap between the demand and the supply. And guess who steps in to fill the gap? It's the puppy mills. So it takes careful consideration. I mean, we've got some crazy ideas in terms of huge exposure that we could do with Sealyhams, but we're going to keep those in our back pocket because the demand's just not there. We also needed to find new ambassadors to help carry on the work, almost like a multi-level marketing type thing, get the word out and have them get the word out, and so on and so on. And, we really wanted to make sure we had fun with this too. So, well, let me get back to that page there. So one day Lisa got a call. You want to talk about that?
I got a call from Sharon Yard. She's the president of the Sealyham Club of America. And she asked a favor of us. She said, every time you sell a puppy, would you please include application to become a member of the club, and go over the application with the new owners and encourage them to become a member. They have a newsletter that comes out every couple months, and it's filled with good information about the breed and how they're helping doing different health things. And there's a new semen bank thing that's going on, and there's fun pictures of other people, what they're doing with their dogs. And so we said, sure, we'll do that. And so we started doing that right away. And we have helped probably about 50% of the new owners, I'd say half of the new owners, become members of the club now. And it's been really successful.
And part of that discussion with them, we tell them, you know, the Sealyham story and how they now have joined a small community of people that they themselves need to be ambassadors of the breed and share the information and the gospel wherever they go. Now, to assist this, the club provides for free to its members these cards of introduction to hand out when you're walking your Sealyham and people come up and say, what kind of dog is that? Is that a white Scottie? No, we hand these cards out, and it directs them to go to the Sealyham Club site to learn more. On the back side of the card is actually some additional facts about it. You know, so the club had these things, and certainly that's a good step in the right direction. But those that are getting the Sealyham Club application, they've already are sold on Sealyhams and know about them. And the people that get the cards, well, maybe they'll have an interest, but that's not really enough. And so we really wanted to try to figure out what other people we could reach out to. And if you remember, Hitchcock was the biggest fan of the celebrities. And so we thought, why not go after the people that are fans of Hitchcock? They call themselves Hitchcockians, and share the Sealyham story with them. Now, while they may not ever own a Sealyham themselves, they would likely to love to know, to have a little bit of that trivia to share with fellow Hitchcockians and then other people. You know, hey, what was Hitchcock's favorite breed of dog? Well, it was a Sealyham. So that was a target that we wanted to go for. You know, yes, you are just too cute, aren't you? Yeah, that's your mama right there. You can see her right there. She's waving at you. So we needed to find them where? Well, at the movies. And so we started searching for theaters that screen Hitchcock films. And then we started emailing the managers of those theaters. See, what we thought is we would bring a couple Sealyhams to the theater with information from the Sealyham Club when they were showing Hitchcock movies. We thought that would be a great tie-in. And the response was very positive for something like that. So we went to the movies. But, you know, we had kind of a special hook when we reached out to them that was kind of neat. In 2012, a movie came out called Hitchcock, starring Sir Anthony Hopkins, Dame Helen Mirren, Scarlett Johansson, Jessica Biel. This was about Hitchcock's life and marriage during the time when he was making the movie Psycho. The producers wanted to have Sealyhams, his favorite dog, in the movie, and were having a hard time finding them. In fact, they were actually going to go with two stand-ins, some Westies, but then they found Lisa, and Lisa went to an audition with Cinderella and Rapunzel, and also their mom Pollyanna, and Cinderella and Rapunzel were chosen to play the roles of Hitchcock's Jeffrey and Stanley. So what did the trainer say about working with your girls? First of all, how old were they?
They were only about 8 or 9 months old. And the trainer just was so impressed with how trainable they were and how easy it was to train them for the part. And so they got a glowing report, and she said, someday I would really like to own a Sealyham after working with them. So it was fun.
Yeah, they got to appear on screen about 5 times. We selected one clip here that we thought you might like.
Come on, boys.
So we had that hook. We contacted the local managers, and I don't know how I didn't know this, but I discovered that at a local theater, independent theater, right next to Ohio State University here in Columbus, they held a month-long Hitchcock Film Festival, all of October. And so when we contacted them about it, they were very excited because they could say, we said we would be bringing Cinderella and Rapunzel, two movie stars from this 2012 movie, and that they would be in attendance. So we exchanged emails, we talked about the setup, the space that we need, and we made arrangements to be there on the nights that they showed the movie, The Birds. We asked them, we were thinking media exposure, if they could post something about it to their social media site, which they did. And we're very grateful about that. They made this announcement that Cinderella and Rapunzel, and also a friend of ours, Nancy and David, would be bringing Fiona, another Sealyham, to it. And so they made that announcement. But, it didn't seem like enough because those were already fans of an independent film center. We wanted bigger. I mean, obviously we put it on our Facebook page and made those announcements, but we wanted to go bigger than that. You want to hold him for a little bit? He's getting a little warm in my hands. So I reached out to the local student newspaper for Ohio State, the OSU Lantern. They did an article on it. Our little hamlet, our little village of Granville did an article entitled Alfred Hitchcock's Dogs Being Bred Here, and talked a little bit about the movie festival. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't just an announcement about the movie festival, but also the Sealyham story was going to be told, why they were important and that they were at risk. We also emailed the Columbus Dispatch, Ohio's largest newspaper, and to our amazing surprise, they put on the front page of their Life and Arts section an article about the Sealyhams, and they gave mention of the festival that was coming up, that we would be there with Cinderella and Rapunzel, and the response to that was amazing. I mean, this is Ohio's largest newspaper, and we were absolutely thrilled about it. Our vets liked it too much, the two vets that we use, that they actually have framed copies sitting in their on their walls of their public areas, showing that off. So that was really nice. It was a 2-page article that they had to do. So very pleased about all that. We still really didn't have any idea of what sort of turnout we would have. So we got there, we got this set up. That tablecloth was provided by the club, and the banner behind it. We had information there about the Sealyhams. We had some movie posters up also from the 2012 movie and so on. And we had 3 of our Sealys there. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if there'd be any turnout. I mean, it's an independent theater. I think it was a Friday night during football season, which our Ohio State Buckeyes are kind of popular around here. So as I mentioned before, Fiona, owned by Dave and Nancy Goby, there's Dave and Nancy up at the top. They showed up with their Fiona. They also brought Angus, who's a Wheaten Scottie. They got both of those dogs from us. They came too. They became so passionate about, they were longtime Scottie people, and they love their Sealyham, Fiona. They became so passionate about it, they actually raised a litter of Sealyhams themselves to help further the breed. They kept the little boy out of there that they call Carolyn. So they came, and as you can see there, it was a smash success. So much so that the crowd interfered a bit with the lines for the ticket and concession stands. We actually had some people that said they had read the article and they came just to meet the Sealys and they left. That article in the Dispatch prompted a family that we didn't even know about that owned a Sealy in the Columbus area to contact us and say, hey, we want to bring our Sealy to be part of this meet and greet as well. And we said, absolutely, come along. So it was a lot of fun. And we certainly the Sealys and Angus loved it, getting their bellies rubbed and lots of petting. There were lots of questions, lots of education, lots of smiles. And afterwards, we provided a write-up for the Sealyham Club for their newsletter about the experience, hoping that other club members would see this and reach out to independent theaters in their areas, or be on the lookout for Hitchcock film festivals or screenings so that they could make a similar offer themselves. So this is kind of weird. One day I was Googling Sealyham, and I found 25 minutes away from our home, Sealyham Drive, and it intersected with Sealyham Court. Now I was blown away by this, and I searched every map software I could find, and these are the only 2 streets named Sealyham in the US that I can find. So I told Lisa about this, and we thought, how neat. Let's go take some photos up there and we'll post it to our page and say, hey, look where we live. This is kind of neat. And then we started thinking about the ambassador goals. What could we do to take advantage of this incredibly unique situation? So about a week ahead of time, we put these flyers in the doors of everyone that lived on those 2 streets, asking, have you ever wondered why your street is named Sealyham? We talked about that there are more pandas, tigers, and gorillas in the world, that it's still in the top 10 for wins by breed at Westminster. And we suggested, hey, come out, meet them, take some pictures, because it might be the only chance in your life to meet a Sealyham Terrier. So there was kind of the ambassadorship, the meeting people. But if you remember on the list of goals, there's that one about media. So I didn't think the Dispatch would want to come out and just take a photo shoot of dogs walking on a street corner. But the little town, it's actually kind of a big suburb called Reynoldsburg, has their own suburban newspaper. And so I searched their website for any email address of anyone that worked there and sent them all a blast email saying, hey, we're going to be at the intersection of Sealyham Drive and Sealyham Court at 1 o'clock on July 28th. And if you want to send some people out, and I told them what the Sealys were and Hitchcock and all the stuff that we had talked about, no one replied. Couldn't believe it. But we thought, you know what? We've always wanted to get some great pictures of Lisa walking the dogs and down the sidewalk. So we said, we'll just go, we'll do a photo shoot of her walking down the street and get a picture of her at the corner of Sealyham Court and Drive. So I dropped her off a little bit further away from the intersection, and she started walking towards me as I was taking pictures, and a man stepped out of his car, got out a rather serious looking camera, and started snapping pictures. And he introduced himself as the photographer for the suburban newspaper. So no one replied, but he actually showed up. So he took some pictures, and as Lisa was walking towards that intersection, I mean, that's the corner where we told everyone we'd meet. What did you see going on, Lisa?
People in all of the houses were peeking at me through the doors and through the windows, and it was really quite funny. And so finally, when I was at Sealyham Drive, they actually started coming out, and they all converged on one house. And so we walked over there, and they just loved meeting the dogs. They got on the ground, and they had so many questions, and were so excited that we did this. Most of them, actually none of them, knew what a Sealyham was before they saw the flyer that Geiger had made up. So it was really informative, and it was a huge success.
And the Sealys absolutely loved it. They love meeting people. They are the ambassadors themselves. So, the photographer didn't really talk to us. He just took some names, and I think he had people sign a few releases. And so I kept checking the website for that newspaper to see if any photos would get in there. And I didn't see anything, and kind of thought, well, maybe it's just not going to happen. Well, then the next week, their newspaper comes out, and Lisa's dogs have 3/4 of the front page of the newspaper. Couldn't believe it. I mean, across the fold, top to bottom. Wow, how exciting was that? And that was all because I had a stupid Google search one day and looked for Sealyham anywhere I could and found those street names. I was very curious about why the street was called that. You might have seen on the map before, there was a Bedlington Drive. I think there were a couple other terriers in the area. There was also a corgi drive. So I contacted the city of Reynoldsburg. I contacted the Historical Society to see if anyone had any idea why they were named that way. Both groups researched it. Both came back and said, the developer decided that. Here's their information. So I contacted the developer. They talked to everyone in the office. No one remembers any working on that project, but one person was pretty sure they knew of the person who would have decided that, but that person had passed on. So I thank them for researching it. In hindsight, I should have asked for that person's name, tried to find maybe their family members and see, were they a dog lover? Did they own something like that? So that's a missed opportunity. So granted, you don't necessarily have that incredible fortune we had of having Sealyham Drive right near us, but about 10 minutes from our house is Terrier Drive, and about 30 minutes from us is Aberdeen Drive, and maybe there's something similar near where you have. I mean, could you arrange for a Scottie walk or a Terrier walk to meet on those streets in your area? Seek them out, invite others. Part of that is getting connected with other Scottie owners. So that was a lot of fun. So, oops, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around here. So that was a lot of fun to do those things, but it's a lot of work to set up the movie stuff. It's, some work to do the Sealyham Drive. We may go back to Sealyham Drive occasionally. I'm actually thinking about contacting the six families that live on Sealyham Court and saying, could we have a Sealyham day where we set up tents and maybe barbecue and invite Sealy owners from the entire Midwest to come converge on things that day. But that's a lot of work. And we wanted to think of what can we do for meet and greets that requires a lot less setup. And this is a picture of the main street of our little town, a New England style town called Granville, Ohio. And the main street, as you can see, has chairs and shades and benches. And it's just a wonderful place for us to, on Saturday afternoons, about once a month, and we haven't been able to do it because of COVID, but we'll be starting up soon, to take the Sealys and the Scotties down there and not just walk them, but to sit, to have those cards or brochures ready to hand out and invite people over to us, because people aren't sure if it's okay to approach you with your dog. We've actively reached out. And once you get a small crowd going, they all start coming towards you. And so here are some pictures that we've taken over the years, both the Scotties and the Sealys meeting people. And this is always a big hit. And all we have to do is put the dogs in the van, drive over there. There's an ice cream shop right there. We sit and just let the dogs do their magic. And it's a lot of fun. We hand out those club cards, we hand out brochures. But we're also really blessed here in Granville for having the #1 rated bed and breakfast in the entire US, according to TripAdvisors, the Welsh Hills Inn, Wales, Welsh Hills Inn. And we met with Bobby that you see there, the proprietor, and we shared the Sealyham story with her. She had never heard of the Sealyhams previously, but she's a big fan of dogs. And she loved meeting Tucker, who she's holding there, who was going to go to her new home the next day with one of her guests that was staying at the inn. So that was really, really neat. She really enjoyed that. Interestingly, Bobby posted a picture on her Facebook page, actually a few pictures of her visit with Tucker. And there were some wonderful comments made about how cute Tucker was. But there was one commenter who was very negative about their promoting a purebred dog from a breeder when there's so many mixed breeds in shelters. Bobby offered a strong reply about how the breed was delightful, was at risk, and she wanted to help it any way she could. So that was really great to see something like that. In fact, Bobby liked working with us so much that she is now offering a discount to Afterglow families that stay with her when they're picking up their Sealyhams or their Scotties. Any Afterglow family is able to negotiate a special rate there. We hope and kind of expect that in the future, a Sealyham will probably be greeting visitors when they arrive at the Welsh Hills Inn. So what else do we do? What are some things that you can do? We promote both breeds on our website, our Facebook, and on Instagram. And we recommend that new families do the same, that they create an Instagram account either for themselves or their dog and post pictures of them. And some are starting to use a hashtag on their photos, such as Afterglow Kennels or Afterglow, that helps other families, Afterglow families, find each other. And we find that those underground communities that are forming really help create cross ambassadors with each other. And so that's the connection part. So certainly the work of Michelle having the Door County effort, and getting people connected there just plays right into that. So this is the Instagram account of Dolly and Cinderella. You might recall Cinderella as being one of the movie stars. She's retired. She lives in Los Angeles now with Julia Dalton. And Dolly, which is actually one of Cinderella's puppies that Julia got from us a year or two before. She's not too far away from Hitchcock's star on the Walk of Fame. We keep asking Julia to take Cinderella over there because we think it'd be great to have that photo. So let's see. So the next one that we want to show you, this is the Instagram account for Brandy Irby. She and Eric Smith, her husband, are in San Diego, and they came to Ohio to pick up Mr. Bingley. And then that was about a year and a half ago. And how long ago did they return?
They just came, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks ago, and got their new puppy. They wanted a buddy for Bingley, Mr. Bingley, and because they were having so much fun with him, and they wanted them to grow up together. So they got a little girl too.
Yeah, they call her Miss Georgie.
Yeah, Miss Georgie.
So we talked about how Sealys are clowns. Scotties, they certainly are entertaining, but they always have kind of this this way about them, about how everything's planned. There's Sealys really are goofs. And Eric said that he bought some toys, water rings for Bingley to play with. And Bingley has figured out his own way of playing with the rings here.
He sorts them even.
Yeah, he likes to, you'll see, he wants them in order. The video is going to end kind of abruptly. Okay, so he's got the green, he's got going through green, and here comes the orange, and he's done. And he can do that for hours, apparently. So he's certainly a clown.
And he also takes them on the...
Yeah, he does waterboarding too with them.
Yeah, funny.
So this is Clooney. He has an Instagram account. You want to talk about Clooney?
Clooney is a special boy. He actually goes to the children's hospital and makes them happy, all the children there. And they just love having him. And there's a golden retriever, so it looks pretty funny. The Sealyham and the golden retriever walking around visiting with the children. So different, but both so sweet and friendly.
We keep showing these social media things because if you don't have a social media account for your dog, please consider getting one and post pictures, because that will get shared with other people. People will find you. And the more awareness that you can have about the Scotties in any venue will help the breed to raise that awareness. You may remember early on, we showed a picture of Harry sitting up on the couch. We're going to talk about Harry right now. So Harry is owned by Benjamin I. and James Smith of California. And he does that Sealy sit everywhere. Like when he's watching TV, he'll sit next to his dad with his arm on the arm of the couch, just watching TV. That's the way he wants to travel. He's sitting there. When he travels, he likes sitting up. He's pretty amazing. We had an amazing chain of events that happened. You want to talk a little bit about that special day?
Yeah, we had Bogart here visiting with us for a few months.
He was the one that went to Westminster, so Bogart was with us.
And then I got a call from Benjamin I. and James, and they said, we're going to be in town in Columbus. Would it be okay if we came out to say hi so you could see um,
Harry.
Harry Winston. And I said, of course, I would love to see how he is all grown up. And so we arranged ahead of time that we were going to introduce Harry Winston to Bogart. And so we put them both on leashes and we went around the yard, and they both met nose to nose. And it was so fun to see the two of them together. And so we got some good photos.
I just want to play a quick video and then we'll keep moving through the presentation. This is Harry. This is the clownish aspect of a Sealyham. All right, I know we're getting close on time here, Michelle. I'll pick it up here. We also reached out to a podcast for Hitchcock fans called Good Evening and told them about the Sealyham story, and they interviewed Lisa to talk about the Sealyhams and the experience of making the movie. And then also our local TV station lets people submit pictures of their dogs to be displayed during the forecast. And we've had Sealy's on there twice and Scotty's on there once.
We have temperatures heading into the 70s by the time we get to noon today. It'll be about 76 for the daytime high. And look at this, I can just hear the one dog saying to the other dog, this is another fine mess you've gotten us into. These two rare Sealyham Terrier puppies are named Laurel and Hardy, just like the comedy duo was back in the day. And we love to say thank you to Geiger for sending these pictures in to us. We love to see your puppy too. I need somebody to showcase tomorrow morning for the dog walk forecast, and we show off your dog then. Post those pictures right on our weather app, and we can be showing your dog tomorrow.
So if you have something like that in your area, take advantage of that. Send pictures in of your Scotties. And you noticed he knew they were rare because we didn't just send the pictures, we told the story, because that's really important. So consider these as possibilities for you. Some other things that we've done, we can't fly all over the country taking Sealyhams to movie screenings. In Bodega Bay, California, they have an annual Hitchcock Film Festival. It was canceled the last couple of years because of COVID. We're hoping that in 2022 that they can do it. And if so, we'll be reaching out to Sealyham Club members to see if they can join, because the Chamber of Commerce is very interested in having Hitchcock's favorite dogs all over the place during that festival. Another thing is we had a really fun day courtesy of Pam Williams, the editor of the Bagpiper magazine. She had been contacted by a modeling agency saying that they needed a Scottie to appear in a photo shoot for Radley of London. And since the photo studio was just 30 minutes from our home, she had them contact us. So we took one of our retired show dogs, Aphrodite, to there, and she did a great job. Her experience in the ring and on the judging table certainly helped with her patiently posing with her friend there. You know, perhaps you can consider contacting a modeling agency and saying, hey, I have a dog that if you ever need a Scottish Terrier for any sort of photos, I'd be more than happy to make them available to you. It was kind of funny. You want to tell a little bit about the experience with the model and her?
Yeah, so the model was real small and thin and didn't look like she was very strong at all. And so the photographer wanted her to pick the dog up. As you can see in the photo, she had to hold Aphrodite, and she went to pick her up and she says, wow, she's solid. And so we started laughing and saying, yeah, they're pretty sturdy dogs. And she put it under her arm. I was shocked that she was able to do it, but she did it, and she made it look like it wasn't a struggle.
So our next target are colleges and high schools in the area that have Scotties as mascots. We don't know what exactly we can do. Maybe it's having them at a sporting event or something like that, or maybe they ride in the convertible for homecoming. I'm not sure what it is, but we're going to try to do that. We also have a pet expo each year in Columbus, Ohio. We took Goody one year. And so he actually tried lure coursing for the first time and really enjoyed it. this was a great situation because they had never had a Scottie doing this this lure coursing demo. And you'll notice the crowd got a huge kick out of it. Everyone's smiling and pointing and can't believe that that little dog is having such a good time. He had never done anything like this before. He had never seen a lure until this moment. And he just went crazy. So we walked around the pet expo. You know, you get to talk to the vendors. They're kind of a captive audience because they're stuck at their booth. And then, you know, the people that are there walking around, they're dog crazy themselves. So they love meeting them. So look for these types of events and take your Scottie to those. I'm going to stop that. And we also went to Malabar Farm, which is where Bogart and Lauren Bacall got married for their annual festival. There was a bagpiper there. He played, he serenaded her. This is Madge. You know, certainly each year this weekend, we know that there's a large collection of bagpipers in Door County. But, you know, maybe there's a bagpiper that does things in your area. Maybe they would like to have a Scottie as part of their demonstration. I've done fake magazine covers just for kind of fun of new puppies before they go to their owners. I can't do it for everyone, but do those kinds of things. We also have on our website for our dogs that become champions, not just ours, but owned by others, or they've earned their certificates. We build a winner's wall page for them so that those people can share those with their friends and family and spread the word there as well. There's a Scotty's Den Diner not far from us with Scotty themes there. We're going to try to see if there's something we can do there to help promote. You know, what if the dogs can appear? This actually is in a town that the mascot for the high school is Scotty's. And he said that it used to be everyone in that town had Scotties, but they're pretty much gone now. And he suggested for the Memorial Day parade, we bring some Scotties and walk through. You know, even the littlest things that you can do. These are our license plates can help spread the news. So here's our final page here. Lisa, as we've talked about, loves to take pictures. We hope that you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the Sealyham and that this spurns some creative ideas in your mind to help raise the awareness of our beloved Scotties, because they are at risk too. And we really thank Michelle and the board for allowing us to visit with all of you today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Lisa and Geiger, you did not disappoint me for 1 nanosecond. That was awesome. You know, from the moment I met you guys in Dayton, Ohio, I think it's been 4 years ago or so now, I was so impressed with your unique abilities to look at the big picture and see where you can fit in talking about our, and man, you guys are so good at this. It was just delightful. My hope is that, and that's part of the reason why I wanted you guys to speak this weekend, because we would normally be gathered, is that everybody can kind of take a piece away from your presentation and think about what can we do in our own communities. You know, every year when the rally is held, I've got at least 1 or 2 of our Scotties on TV in Green Bay on at least 1 or 2 of the channels. That's so easy to do. And, you know, people always say to me, well, I don't know anyone there. I didn't know anyone either. You just have to pick up the phone or write a letter or stop by spontaneously and see if you can make that happen. So it was just great, you guys. Kudos.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us share.
So, man, I know I put in one question, and again, I want to remind everybody, if you've got any questions about their presentation or any of those kinds of things, please feel free to enter it into the chat, and Matt will pose that question or the questions to them.
Michelle, I don't see your question there. I don't know, maybe you sent it by accident, like directly to Lisa Geiger or
Oh, I did.
something.
I
don't see it in the general thing for everyone. So if you want to ask, go ahead. There's no other questions. Just thank you.
Okay, so I have always been a little bit leery of doing Instagram only because it's one more thing to do. but can you tell us what the benefit of doing Instagram is compared to Facebook or any other platform?
Sure. So, you know, prior to the internet 25 years ago, if you asked a grandparent if they have any pictures of their grandkids, you know, the wallet would come out and the long string of pictures would be there, right? And it was 5 minutes for every picture, right? Because that's how long they were going to talk about each one. Instagram is kind of a virtual version of that. You create an account, and when you take a picture with your phone, you just send it right to Instagram, and that's it. You don't have to do anything further. You don't have to type comments if you don't want to. And anyone who is connected to you or following you in Instagram, the next time they get into Instagram would say, hey, Michelle's got a new picture out there, and let you take a look at it. So it's a real easy way to permanently save, unless you decide to delete it later, those moments that you have. It can be for you, it can be for your family, but by getting the pictures of the Scotties out there, and if you use the hashtag, and all that is you put that little pound symbol and a word, so maybe Scottish Terrier or Scottie or Door County or something like that, and you can have as many of those as you want. If someone goes to Instagram and says, show me anything that someone has typed in Door County as a hashtag, and your pictures would be included in that, or Scotties or things like that. And it just helps you find other folks and helps them find you. But more importantly, you know, it's still going to be there long after you're gone, of all those wonderful photos. And kids, grandkids, great grandkids would love to know that in that moment, at that point in your life, you were here and had that picture taken.
Awesome.
And it's real easy. They make it really easy to use.
Okay. What's the most common question you get when you're doing those meet and greets about the breed?
Why are they not more popular? That is absolutely, you know, are you lying to us? Can they really be that great? Because they have kind of the temperament of a golden retriever, but they're in a compact size. But they have, you know, they're a terrier, so you have enough real dog in them, you know, that we all love in our Scotties.
Yeah, we always say just enough terrier.
Just enough terrier. And really, if you read those articles that we have links on the website to some of those, like from the Mail and Country Life, it's really a couple things. One of them is, you know, just like the Scotties, they were bred to hunt vermin, and that's not needed anymore, you know? So having them as a working breed, you don't need that anymore. And so the popularity has gone down because of that. The other is, the grooming's very similar to a Scottie. People like short hair on their dogs because they don't have to comb them. They don't have to brush them out. That's really it. And the other thing is it's not an easy breed to breed. It takes work on the part of the breeder to raise Sealyhams. It's a difficult breed. And so, you know, it kind of goes to all of those things. That's really I'd say the number one thing we hear. And the other thing they want to know is, do you have any available? They always want to know. And, you know, the demand exceeds the supply, especially with COVID, on all breeds right now. And, you know, the club told us, listen, breeders, told all the breeders, the reputable breeders, the demand's going up. If you're able to increase your breeding, please do so, because if you don't, as we talked about before, the puppy mills will step in, and you get some bad lines in a breed that has so few numbers. You can really decimate the health of the breed. It's a very healthy breed. They typically live 12 to 14 years. They only have one congenital defect that's known, and there's a test for it. The club, working with the University of Missouri, developed this DNA test so that breeders could breed away from that condition. So that's really it.
Great. Was there a question that was posed, I think, was it Mary Bauer, or somebody posed a question? Matt, can you check that?
Mary had a comment. If you want to talk about it, Mary, please feel free to hop on. We don't have any other questions, and it sounds like a great
Yeah.
to things that people can do.
It wasn't really a question. It was just a comment. I had been with my dogs to a local place and I ran into a company that had Scotties as their logo. And they asked me to come down to the Chicago Polar Ice Plunge, which I had never been to before, but it was fun. I dressed the Scotties in their kilts and we went out and kind of handed out stuff for this company. And people got to meet the dogs, pet them. It was fun. It was right on Lake Michigan. So it was fun for them afterwards. I think the crowd was a little intimidating to them because there are so many people and they're short, but people got to actually see what a Scottie looked like, which was nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm going to just put in one last plug, actually. Coming up in June, the weekend of Father's Day, I think it starts on Thursday, whatever that date is, maybe the 17th, is the National Rotating Specialty for the Scottish Terrier Club of America. And that is being hosted, that part of that dog show weekend is being hosted by the Scottish Terrier Club of Chicago. So for those of you who are within driving distance of Grays Lake, Chicago, I encourage you to go to that event. It is going to be all outdoors still because of COVID. So from that standpoint, it's going to be okay if you bring your dogs along. Normally when dog shows are held indoors, they really don't want any other dogs brought in. But so again, if you're within driving distance, please think about coming on down or coming on over to that show. It'll be a great opportunity for you to see fellow Scottie owners and get to know some of the breeders. Just don't approach them until they're out of the ring. Like don't go to talk to them like when they're getting ready to go in the ring, because they won't be so friendly. Right, Lisa? Not that you'd ever be that way, but there are some of them that like will bite your head off if you look at them even.
Yeah, they're a little grumpy.
Yeah, so just wait till they're done out of the ring and then they'll be happy to talk to you about their dog. So please take advantage of that. So Lisa and Geiger, we thank you with all of our hearts for sharing your time and your expertise and those wonderful photos of all your kiddos.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that
guys.
was fun.
So you're welcome to stay
Yeah,
on.
thank you so much.
You're welcome to stay on and join us. The next part of what we're going to do for the rest of the Zoomie time that we had allocated was, and you're all welcome to unmute your phones if you'd like, or you might want to leave them muted until it's your turn to talk. But we wanted to take advantage of this time to introduce each other or introduce yourselves. So this is what I'd like you to do. Tell us your name, where you're located, how many Scotties you currently have, and what got you interested in the Scottish Terrier breed. So Mary, can we start with you, Mary Bauer? Because you're in my upper left-hand corner.
Sure. Right now I'm on my 5th and 6th Scotties. I got my first one as a freshman in high school as a Christmas present from my parents. Somebody my mom worked with happened to have bred the dog. And it was kind of funny because this person, she was, it was a one-time breed of the dog she had because she loved him so much. She actually came and made me interview with her, which I did not realize because my parents were surprising me, but she wanted to make sure that she was okay with me having a dog. So it was kind of nice. She was being very responsible. A few years later, we actually had a party with Holly's siblings, which was kind of fun. And then I've slowly had, I've never had more than 2. Several times I only had 1 at a time. But this is the second time I've had 2. So it's fun. So I've had them for like, I don't know, 45 years, something like that over time. So.
Thank you, Mary.
Yep.
Juliana, we're going to skip over to you.
All right. So my name is Juliana Janish. I have been living in Grand Rapids, Michigan for about 10 years now with my husband, Adam, and he is the reason why I have come to love Scottish Terriers so much. He actually grew up with them, and Geiger, I got a kick out of you putting College of Worcester up there because that's where Adam went to college as well. So we kind of had, it's kind of funny because I lived in Scotland for a while, and that's where Adam and I, that's when we started talking, and it's just mere coincidence that he grew up with Scotties, the whole Scotland connection. But anyway, so the first Scottie I ever loved was his family dog Dusty. And then we had Monty, our Scottie, for 9 years. And I'm going to try not to break up, but unfortunately he passed away in February. But I'm gonna, fortunately get one of Geiger and Lisa's puppies soon, and can't wait to love on the little guy. So they're just a wonderful breed, best dogs I've ever met. So yeah, thank you.
And welcome to our family, Juliana.
Thank you so much.
We're going to go next to Mary Lauber.
Hi, I'm Mary Lauber. I live in Kansas City. Today is Gordon's birthday, so I wanted everyone to say happy birthday to Gordon. He's 10 today.
Oh, happy birthday, buddy.
He likes to lay on his
Happy
pillows.
birthday, Gordon.
He likes to lay on his pillows. I have 3 Scotties. He's our 8th Scottie. We've had Scotties 30 some years. And we do not belong to a club, but I help with St. Louis Scottish Terrier Rescue. I know all those folks there, and I help transport. So occasionally we'll have some get-togethers here at my house from people. I like to host, as I told Mary Bauer, if she's ever in Kansas City, to come over. I love having people in my house, and when I have Scottie people, I usually invite people I know over, so we have a little get together. So I'm on my way out of town today, and I have a graduation party to go to with that.
And Mary,
Anyways,
what was the hook for you in terms of falling in love with this breed?
it was very interesting. I didn't know that there was a family connection, but my husband does stonemasonry, and he was working on a home with 2 lawyers, and these 2 men had this beautiful Scottie, and so I fell in love with it. And then we were at my parents' house with our first Scottie, and my mom's cousin came, and he saw the Scottie, and he actually wrote a remembrance thing. He had a Scottie in World War II. And if you see when they post the Scottish Terriers of World War II, if you see a Scottie named Lassie, and his name was Walter Conance, and there's several pictures I see on the internet of Wally and his brother, but it kind of refurbished his love of Scottie seeing our Scottie. And so I didn't know Wally had the Scottie in World War II, but occasionally I see especially Memorial Day, you'll see a lot of World War II dogs come up. And one of those Scotties is actually my cousin's. So
Awesome.
And actually his daughter came over and she gave me some of her mother's jewelry. Wally's long past, but reconnected. And then I found another cousin also has Scotties down in Dallas. Kind of reconnected with second cousins. So I didn't know it ran in the family, but it does.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mary. Thank you. And you've been responsible. Is it your nephew that lives in New York?
Well, as you know me, I've got 42 nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
So I have a nephew, any city there, I have a nephew. The nephew lives in, they're in the Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And they do Earth Dog. They're very into it. He does Rapscallions out of Georgetown, which is a terrier group, mainly Bedlinghams, that go around the restaurant row and kill the vermin. And it's a big thing up there. So they're very involved. And then Larry's godson, Lucas, who's a nuclear sub in the Navy, his girlfriend has Scotties, and her family all has Scotties, and they live in Virginia. And she has Oliver and Duncan now. So kind of in Larry's side of the family, there's Scotties in there too. So
That's awesome.
Yep.
Matt, you want to share with us your story?
Sure, and I'm gonna apologize to you and Lisa and Geiger who just heard this yesterday, but I fell in love with Scotties when I first saw Lady and the Tramp when I was a little tramp myself, probably 4 or 5 years old. And my first letter to Santa that my mom still has, I drew a little picture of a Scottie. And I said that was the only thing that I wanted for Christmas was a Scottish Terrier, so I could name him Jock. And because that was the name of the Scottie in Lady and the Tramp. I don't know why my 4-year-old or 5-year-old brain, or maybe it was my parents helping me, I don't know, decided that it was spelled Jacqueus, like the French spelling of Jacques, maybe from Jacques Cousteau. I don't know, because I was also obsessed with marine stuff, but that's how I thought it was spelled. And it wasn't until I was probably 30 years old and my sister and her 2 kids got me for my birthday a stuffed Jacques from when they went to Disney, like a little stuffed Scottie dog, and it had a tag around its neck spelled Jock, and I was like, my mind was blown at like 31 or whatever years old. I was like, what? Jock? What is that? And I looked it up online, and it's like, that's the Scottish spelling for Jack. And so when I did get my first Scottie puppy, I did name him Jock, and I spelled it the proper way in my mind, the French way. So we have Jacques, Cqueus, Jacques. And then a year after that, Michelle has a puppy, or not a puppy anymore, I guess, has a litter mate of Jacques. And it was probably 4 years ago, maybe now, that at one of the rallies, it feels like we had a reunion of, what was it, 6 out of 8 of the puppies from that litter. 6 out of 8. I mean, it was a big litter, and we had so many of those puppies at the rally. And I have this picture of all of us trying to wrangle all these dogs together. Plus, like, I think a grandfather was there, the mom and the dad were there. And a year after we got Jock, Michelle told me at actually the dog show that she was talking about in Grays Lake, she told it was exactly a year after getting Jock. She told me that Kari, our breeder, was looking for a home to place Taylor, Jacques' father. And so I went to my wife and I said, Kari's looking for a home for Taylor, and if she doesn't find anywhere to place him, she's going to put him in a dumpster. And she was like, what? And then she's like, you liar. But because we wouldn't have to train another dog so soon after just, finishing up training Jacques, basically, she did say yes. So we have a father and a son combo of Jacques and Taylor, and everybody else. Sometimes they do that, but not often. Actually, they don't fight like that often. They get along. They're complete opposites of personalities. Taylor's a little general, has to be in charge all the time, and Jock is like perpetual puppy, is what we call him. So he's going to be 5 in July, and or 4. I'm turning. Anyway, he's always going to be a puppy, regardless. He wants to play with every single person and animal, and he's like that. And Taylor's kind of like watching over everything, just kind of making sure that you're doing what he wants you to do. So.
And for
they're
those
great.
of
I love them, and we'll always have. I can't imagine ever having another dog breed other than maybe a Sealyham, because they're so damn cute. And
for those of you who don't know, Matt is on our board.
Sealyham.
So
yeah, we're involved
recruit.
in the rally and in the Chicago club. I do a lot of web stuff, and we just, like having other people that we can go to for. One of the, I don't think this is kind of mentioned it maybe even enough, that just knowing other people that have the same breed is a great resource for anything. Like, getting when you have a puppy or an older dog that might start getting some ailments, like having other people that have gone through the same thing is invaluable.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Suzanne, it's been ages since we've seen you.
Yes, it has. I'm Susan Miller. I'm a retired teacher from Wausau, Wisconsin. And I got my first Scottie in the late 60s because a fellow teacher, a woman that I was living with, was an FDR fan for forever. And we decided we wanted a dog, and there was no other breed she was interested in but that. And we happened to have a friend whose sister was a breeder in a town about 40 miles south of us. So one day on a whim, we knew she had a breed or had a litter, and we hopped in the car and went down and picked up our first Scottie, Mr. Charlie, named after a poodle, but that's all right, from Steinbeck. And then I've had Scotties ever since. We have had 2, 3, 4 at a time, a couple of litters, one on purpose, one by mistake. Always just pets, never got involved otherwise, but we always attended the Paper City Kennel Club things when they were in the area. And the last 3 Scotties I've had, Pat's gone now, but the last 3 Scotties I've had have been only children females. And the last one I have to thank Michelle for, because I ended up empty nested for the first time in all those many, many years, had knee surgery, and then really needed a dog after that again. And she connected me with a breeder who was homing a brood bitch. And Kelsey has been marvelous for me. We're both old ladies who just like to be couch potatoes. She is so friendly and laid back that she loves everybody in the neighborhood, kids and dogs. And we haven't been around cats much, but I think she'd like that just fine too. And she is now 12 and a half almost, and has lived as long as any Scottie I've had. So I'm just feeling really blessed at this point. And thank you, Michelle, and all of the great times at the Scottie rally. I mean, that was our connection with you. And I hope I get back there next year.
I hope so too.
Michelle and I also share the collector gene and have houses that are, for me at least, obscenely full of Scottie Terrier memorabilia, stuff. Thousands of pieces, which will eventually end up on the Scottie auction block, I think.
Thanks, Susan. Hope to
Yeah.
see you this summer.
Well, we'll probably be over this summer. I think we're going to be back to, Betsy and I will be back to being able to travel. So
Great.
planning on it.
Thanks for joining in today.
It was interesting. I loved it.
Good, good. Our next person in line here is Barb. You got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Got it. Okay, I'm Barb Collison. I'm from Mound, Minnesota, and I do not have a Scottie yet. I'm waiting for my little Wallace, Michelle. Anyway, this was my first Scottie.
Oh,
And I got him when I was about probably 5. And so I've always just been fascinated with them. I'm interested in learning all about their temperaments and their stubbornness and just all about them. And actually the first time I actually got to pet one was at Michelle's a couple weeks ago. So now the wait is begun, and it's going to take forever, because all of the people like you who all support these little black pups, I'm just really interested in seeing how he is going to fit into our family. And his name is going to be Wallace. So
great, Barb. Good to see you again.
yeah, nice meeting you all also.
I'm going to pop up on the screen.
You too.
I'm going to pop up on the screen and go to Elle Hardy, who doesn't have a Scottie. She has a Scottie wannabe, but it is a terrier. Go ahead, Elle.
Hi, I'm Arnell Hardy, and I have been friends with Michelle for many years, wonderful years. I don't have a Scottie. But I have a Yorkshire Terrier, and a lot of people don't know the Yorkshire Terrier actually originated in Scotland, and they were called the broken coat. It was called a Scott Terrier broken coat that were brought down to Yorkshire to do vermin in the mills. But my background with Scotties was when I was a little girl, my grandmother's friends next door had 2 of them, one called Dudley and one called Hamish. And I loved them. They were just so much fun, but I never got one. But then my next exposure, fast forward many years, was with Michelle. I got a puppy for my daughter, was not a Scottie. She wanted a little tiny Chihuahua because she wanted to carry it in her pocket. And I tried to tell her that dogs don't like to be carried really in their pocket, but you can't tell a 10-year-old some things. But at that same time, Michelle got her Scottie, Shayna. And that dog was such a sweet dog. And I just fell in love with Scotties again. And maybe currently I live in Southern California, and I am going to be moving to Door County. So I'm hoping in the future that we may have an addition for our little Madigan, she is not a dog loving dog. She loves people as a Yorkshire Terrier more than other dogs, and she's not mean to them. She just has no interest in them. She'll take interest in the person who's holding the dog. But I'm hoping that in the future, I will join the group of having a new terrier, but maybe a Scottish Terrier to roam around Door County. But I so support supporting reputable breeders for breeds that are endangered. And so many people think that everything has to be rescued from a rescue. That's true, that we don't want to see more irresponsible breeding, but we also need to rescue our purebreds. Otherwise, we won't have anything. And I thank you for guys including me in the Zoomies. And I do have a little wannabe, but we will hopefully get a Scottie in the future.
Do you want to share where you're going to be moving to in Door County?
I am moving directly across this road from the Door County, the Scottie Rally headquarters with Michelle, and building a brand new house. Of course, it got hit with COVID, so the delay got by a year. And I had never been up to Door County. Michelle and I knew each other in California. She always wanted me to come see it, and life got in the way. And in 2019, I got up there, and literally, as a California born and bred West Coast girl, fell in love with the Midwest and fell in love in the fall, and said, if ever there's property that comes up, let me know. Maybe I'll have a summer home up here. Fast forward now, and my husband, who's from Northern Ireland, we will be having a permanent home up there. Hopefully be up there by June, into the house by August. So maybe when everyone comes to the Scottie meeting.
Camper.
Camper, that's it. Meeting, yeah. In September, I'll be in the new house, and we'll be able to meet a lot of you who are close enough to come up there and break this isolation and have fun and meet everyone. But thank you guys for including me in your Scottie plan.
Arnell is also going to be joining the midwifery team for Katie if she comes in the season.
Yes, I'm going to be a whelping partner of helping Miss Katie. And I will tell you a quick story, which is funny. If anyone knows Katie, you kind of have, she kind of has to greet you. You don't greet her. And Michelle let me know that right when I first came in. And I said, that's fine. I've been around dogs for a long time. At one time I had 10 Chihuahuas. So I knew personalities of different dogs, even from the same breed. And after I was there, next thing I know, there's Katie up with me, snuggling on my side. And she and I have been friends. I know she'll have to re-meet me again, but I will be there to support her, her babies, and Michelle. So I'm so excited. Michelle's so sick of hearing me say I'm on my way. But we actually have walls and we have a roof, and it's moving along.
And Barb is holding up a picture of her next to Katie at her house, because Barb is going to be getting one of Katie's next puppies. So thank you, Arnell, for joining us. And I think the next person on the call that I see, I think it's Sue Francie, if I recognize the phone number.
It's me, and I'm getting one of Katie's puppies too. And for all of you folks that are still on, I just want to say happy Rally Day. We'll see you next year. So, but hopefully see you in September. My first Scottie I got in 1996, Maggie May, and you can all truly laugh at this, but I was a huge Rod Stewart fan. I still am. And I loved his song, Maggie May. And I went to a concert. He was on tour. We went to one in Milwaukee. And then I called my daughter who lives in Portland. And she said, Mom, if you come out here, I'll get us the best seats for Rod Stewart. So I flew out there on like 4 days notice and we went to see Rod Stewart. And she forced my hand and said, now go up there to the stage and stand there. And I just bolted through the security guards and I stood under him while he sang Maggie May. Well, I came back home. It was a short visit. I got off the plane and I said to my husband, Tom, I want to get a Scottish Terrier, because of course Rod is from Scotland, and I want to name her Maggie May. Well, in a month, we had Maggie May. So that's my Scottie story.
And so where do you currently live?
Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
And you currently have how many Scotties?
One 12-year-old little sassy girl. Her name is BB.
Great. Thank you. So I'm just going to finish up with me, if you don't mind, really quick. Tom and I have had Scotties since the second year that we were married. So like since around 85 or 86. And we've had a total of 8 of them in our lifetime. 4 have been rescue and 4 we've raised as puppies. And I have always said that I would never breed a Scottie. I just, that was beyond me. I always thought that should be left to the breeders who knew what they were doing. And about 3 years ago, I was invited to participate in an STCA outreach committee on where have all the Scotties gone because the numbers have dropped. And I was the only pet person, the only companion animal person at that table, which I am very grateful to have been there. And I was chosen because of the work that we've been doing for 20 years with the rally. Well, that was an eye-opening experience for me, listening to the dialogue and also being the only pet person at the table. So anyway, as a result of that, I left there thinking, besides the rally, what else could I be doing? We need more people breeding. And it took me about a good 3 years to get my nerve up enough and myself comfortable enough with the prospect of doing that. So 2 years ago, I bred my first litter and I'm waiting for Katie to go into season. That's going to be litter number 2. Her daughter, Violet, from our first litter, I'll breed her after she turns 2. So I probably will have 2 litters in this next year or year and a half. We currently have 4 Scotties, 1 rescue and three of them that we've raised. So I just can't imagine any other breed. And what brought us to the breed was, this is funny, we lived in Southern California. We went to the Beverly Hills Kennel Club show to try to figure out what kind of dog we wanted. And we took a computerized test from Purina Farms. And neither Tom or I can remember what breeds it said that would be good for us, but we do know that Scottish Terrier wasn't on the list. But when those dogs came in the ring, oh my God, you know, talk about huge attitude in a small little package. I just never looked twice at another dog. So that's the story of how we ended up with a Scottie, and we'll never have another breed again. Sorry, Lee and Geiger. But I get to enjoy the Sealyham down the road. So does anyone have any other thoughts or questions that you want to raise? I think we're just about at our ending time anyway. Oh, perfect, 11:04, not bad. I'm sorry.
When is the September date?
September 25th is when we're going to be gathering. It's just a 1 day, it'll be a very small event compared to what we normally have going on. We can't do bagpipers because it costs us $500 to do them. And unless I know we've got X number of people coming, there's just no way we can swing that. So we will be back in full force next May 19th, no, 20th, 21st of 2022 are the dates for next May.
Got my hotel reservation.
Yay.
I got mine.
Michelle,
Yes?
say something quick about Instagram. I have to share a story about Instagram just briefly, is how much the Instagram has boosted in I probably nationally, but especially around here in Southern California, for these Brussels Griffons.
Mhm.
Somebody posted a funny picture of her Brussels Griffon, and this dog has taken off on Instagram, and the call for Brussels Griffon has gone up in this area of people thinking they're the best little dog in the world because they're kind of, grumpy looking, and besides the movie that it was in with Jack Nicholson, as good as it gets, but they have, Instagram is such a fun place to put pictures and to have people network who maybe don't even know that other people have that same breed. So I just think if people are posting their pictures of their dogs, it really does help bring awareness to it. And you have the opportunity on Instagram to put a little comment with the picture to kind of be responsible and also, share quirky things about the breed. So it's just a thought for anyone who's a photo bug and likes to put pictures of their dogs. Don't have to put them all on Facebook and then people having to be your friends. That
Yeah.
you can scan through Instagram and not have to even know anybody, and it'll pop up sometimes.
Great. Mary, are you on Instagram? Mary Lauber.
Yes, I am, but I
Okay.
don't know. I don't understand it. Half of my nieces and nephews are on Instagram, so I have to go over there to see my great nephews and all that. So
Okay.
I need to look up on it because I don't really understand it. I do have an account, but I don't understand the hashtag. Now, the two nephews on Larry's side, their dogs are all over Scottish Terriers. The one that came to Raleigh, which is Thompson,
Yeah.
and his brother McDuff, they're out there all the time, and Oliver and Duncan. But that's on my list of to do. I've been on a big ancestry project recently, and it's on my next thing to learn Instagram, but
Yeah.
I'll be better with my pictures. I put pictures, but it's only my followers, and I have like 7 followers.
Okay. And Mary Bauer, are you on Instagram?
I have an account, but
Okay.
I don't post like Mary. I use it to see family things or people that I want
Okay.
to following. But I can't remember the last time I posted on Instagram. I do it on my Facebook account.
Yeah.
My name on Instagram though happens to be Scottie Dog Mary, I think, or something like that. So I did get Scottie in there. I just don't use it.
I think I follow you. I didn't realize that was you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's a Scottie Dog Mary. I'm going to follow her.
Again, it's one of those things I really don't understand. I don't understand the hashtag. I've never, the whole Twitter thing, I never really understood. I just, it was, I learned Facebook, and that's kind of where I stopped. So
Geiger,
Can I jump in
be
for a
better.
second, Michelle?
yeah, please do.
So okay,
Yeah.
Geiger used the example earlier of how people used to have like the big roll of pictures of their grandchildren or whatever in their wallet or purse or whatever. So on Instagram, when you post something, the hashtag is just a way of marking what that picture is, right? So if you had an actual printed picture on the back of it, your parents, grandparents, whatever the pictures would have the name maybe or the place that it was taken, and then like 1932 or 1968 or whatever the date on it. So a hashtag is just a way of marking some sort of recallable title or name or something with that picture, so that if people are searching for pictures, like if you're searching for Scottie, if you have that hashtag sign and then Scottie, that will come up when other people search for Scottie. So you've marked your picture in a way in the description area, like you can type in a description, you can put Scottie, you can put the name of your dog. If you have a Instagram handle, like, I'm sorry, Mary Scottie Dog or whatever it is, if you have that, you can do hashtag with that on there and people can find you through that. But really it's a way, like my wife, Roseanne, uses it to find Scotties from all over the world. And she probably has, I don't know, 500 Scotties that she's following. It's where she constantly is showing me cute pictures and or cute little videos of Scotties doing Scotty things. And, you know, we love it, but we would never have found this dog in Japan if it wasn't for the hashtagging of it, you know, because you can post up the pictures and then just your followers will see what you put up there, and nobody searching for a Scottie is going to be able to find that picture, because the program isn't going to recognize that that was a picture of a Scottie unless you put that little hashtag in there with Scottie or Scotty dog or whatever. And you'll see pictures that have 20 hashtags because
Right.
people are trying to promote it so that it comes up with a bunch of different searches. So, you know, you can do that too. You can do Scottie, you can do Scotty dog, you can do Scottish Terrier or whatever. But if you have that on there, you've done that one time when you posted the picture, and then that's how you get more than 7 followers, because you're going to get people from everywhere who are interested in Scotties seeing it, and then they start following you. And if you post more pictures, they'll, you know, forward it to other people. And it's just kind of this chain reaction thing where that hashtag is the only way that the kind of sharing can actually really happen.
Yeah. And
So when you search, do you do hashtag Scotties or do you just do Scotties?
No, when you're doing the searching within the thing, like you don't have to put the hashtag thing in. It
Okay,
just, because the hashtag is what lets it know that it's a searchable term, that lets
Okay.
the program know that that's the searchable thing that you're putting in there. So
Right.
that's,
okay.
I hope that was simple enough or easy enough to kind of, you know, get you to try it. Just, you know,
I'll
try
try
it with one of your cute Scotty pictures, like add a hashtag in there and, you know, just kind of see what happens.
Okay,
Yeah, and you just put it in right along with your comment. So, you know, here's a picture of Hamish, space, the hashtag, the pound symbol that we all know from the touchtone phones, and then the word right afterwards. So that's it. You don't have to like do any special clicks or anything else. Just add it right into your comment.
And if Door County Scotty Rally wanted to be hashtagged, a person with a Scotty could put their cute picture of their Scotty up and put hashtag Scotty. And
There are a ton of them out there.
And then do hashtag Door County Scotty Rally or DCSR, whatever.
Yep.
And that way somebody's saying, I know they have a Scotty Rally somewhere back, you know, and that would link it where people wanted to look at it, could be familiar with it, and then also be able to, if they maybe never come to the rally, but maybe they want to support the breed and they want to support the health and wellness of Scotties. Those are some things that make it easy where people don't know how to get to it on Facebook or aren't even aware of it. So
And those little hashtags with the Door County stuff is how we found a bunch of videos of us being in the pirate parade when we did the pirate one a few years ago or 4 years ago or whatever. Like we found videos of Jacques walking in his little pirate costume because of that other people had taken, like people we've never met or would have known, people from, you know, Door County and surrounding areas that come to watch the parade. They post up little videos and pictures of stuff and they tag it with, you know, Door County or Door County Scotty Rally or whatever. And we found stuff that, you know, strangers took pictures of our dog that we, you know, never would have seen otherwise. So that's a cool way to find stuff too, you know, is with the rally, the hashtags from the rally too.
yeah.
So if we established an Instagram, is it an account or a page? Is it an account?
It's an account, yeah, and I think we could just do it using the Door County, DC Scotty Rally account that you have, like that Gmail account. You could just create the Instagram account using
So
that.
do you do it with your email? Is that what you do it with? You initially?
You
or-
you do with a phone or an email, I think, maybe both. So we'd probably, you know, we'd probably have that tied to your phone number at least, and then that email, and then you would be posting up the, you know, pictures from the account itself. You'd post up pictures of yours, but then other people could you know, tag on with the hashtags that you created for it.
Okay. Thanks, you guys. Good to see you. You guys were awesome. Okay, so watch for, I guess, an Instagram account. I guess it will be our next step.
I just added one to Door County Scotty Rally. So there you go.
Awesome. So do you think when we
And
establish
Michelle,
it,
you can put that up on, you can promote that on the Facebook account. We could
Right.
we can put it all up on we can put it on the website too, like put the little Instagram signal on the site, so that people have the link basically to Facebook, to Instagram, to what will be the YouTube channel all at one time. Sorry, is a little aside. I don't know if you got.
I just got it. I just sent it to you.
You sent me the code. I needed that because the uploads failed because it said the files were too big. So I have to verify the account. But once I do this verification, hopefully I can get those up. So that'll be a YouTube and Instagram eventually and a Facebook, and we can just have all those socials up on the website. So
And they interlink.
yeah,
You have to post
I mean,
it